Hey, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to the workshop in preparation for the Hackmakers Smart Cities Hackathon series. I'm EK from Oracle, the sponsor for the Smart Cities Hackathon. Nice to meet you and glad to have you here. The Smart Cities Hack, organized by Hackmakers, is a series of 3 hackathons spread over 3 months to challenge you, our partners and developers, to seek new ways to connect, get better insights, to foster a better environment, and develop a smarter and safer city. You can participate in any or all 3 hackathons to showcase how you are able to use the comprehensive suite of Oracle Cloud Services to showcase rapid application development, mobile and digital assistant, or data analytics to create smart city solutions around smart administration, smart cities, and smart transportation. To help you get started for the hackathon, I have with me today a team of experts with a ton of experience. They will be able to give you some pointers on where to start and how to prepare yourself. If you have any questions along the way, be sure to type in the chat and we'll address your questions in the chat or after all the prepared presentation. First, I have with me Francis Han, an avid AI practitioner with years of data analytics background and an extensive knowledge of recent AI advancements. He has been engaged at numerous customer sessions, seminars, and webinars around the development of analytics and AI to solve real-world problems. He also promotes smart city awareness and adoption. He's currently Senior Director at Oracle, responsible for the JPAC region of Oracle Solutions Center. By the way, Francis has recently earned a Master in Intelligent System combining AI and smart systems, and that's from the National University of Singapore. I'll invite Francis to provide us with a sample of some of the smart cities projects that he has developed in the course of his work, including smart street lightings, smart flood controls, etc. Now, let me not steal the thunder from him, and let him tell you all about this interesting project himself. Francis, the floor is all yours. Over to you.
Thanks, EK. Let me share my screen first. Can you see the screen right now?
Yes.
Right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Francis Han. I'll be talking about smart city use cases in the next 10 minutes or so. Mankind has been obsessed with the concept of living well since the beginning of time. And living well in a modern day typically centers on living in an urban environment in a city. However, many modern cities are beset with problems like pollution, congestion, crime, and a host of environmental issues that we are facing. Hence, efforts are being put in place by city authorities to deal with these issues through policies, regulations, and technologies. Today, we're going to focus on leveraging technology to solve some of these problems. Many use cases exist today to help mitigate some of these problems that we face as part of urbanization or issues that we have to deal with in our daily lives. These use cases relate to sustainability, resiliency, and livability. Sustainability is about managing our resources like energy and water. The idea is to minimize wastage, to recycle, to reuse whenever possible. For example, we have use cases that deal with problems related to leakage or wastage of water, or to source for alternative sources. Resiliency concerns the way we cope with problems as a nation and how well we can recover quickly from an adverse situation like a natural disaster or major accident. Use cases like flood management provides early warning and possible evacuation. This serves to lessen the impact such disasters may pose to the communities. Livability is about raising the quality of life for the community. And some examples are use cases that involve transportation management, connectivity, and e-services that bring about convenience for the people. We have put together some intelligent use cases with AI algorithm, and this is one of the examples. That is smart parking. In this case, the data that is actually running are video images of the car park, the multi-story car park that you can see in the video. That is captured frame by frame. And each frame is processed by the algorithm to see which lots are occupied and which are available. This information is sent to the autonomous database in the cloud, which will then update the analytics dashboard, as well as the digital assistant. This enables drivers to query the system to find out where he could park his car. This system is a departure from a typical setup where devices are monitoring individual lots. So as you can see in the big screen behind, you have the left corner video that's processed with the rectangles that is showing green and red. And on the right, there's a dashboard that shows you the 7 lots. The second lot, as you can see, is turning from green to red and toggling between these two colors. So here is how this smart parking solution works. We have a camera that is directed at a car park to capture the video frames. The video frames are processed to determine the lot availability, and this information is sent to the autonomous database in the cloud. The analytics dashboard, as well as the digital assistant, are updated with real-time lot availability information. Another use case that is based on computer vision and AI algorithm is this flood control system. A camera is directed at a canal bank to determine the water level. The water level is collected together with other information coming from the canal bank to help the system to predict whether a flood is going to happen. On the right of the screen, we have a dashboard that shows the water level that is detected. And it goes from 0 to 1 to 2, etc. The algorithm is used to process the water level, and other inputs can be deployed with any of the supervised learning libraries. Here we use the naive Bayes algorithm due to its simplicity and effectiveness. So this is another perspective of the flood control system, which shows the process. When a flood is predicted, the system sends a notification to the relevant agencies so that appropriate actions can be taken, such as activating the siren or to inform the drivers via the chatbot messages. The floodgates could also be activated, and the whole intent is to give early warning to drivers, to let them know about the possibility of floods in certain areas, and for the authorities to take intervention steps like clearing choke points at canals. This way, we could try to minimize severe floods from happening and averting massive standstill to citizen movements and property damage. Just to highlight that in this case, which I mentioned about the naive-based algorithm, that takes in 3 inputs here. There's water level, rainfall, and rate of water level rising. So it could be a combination of any parameters that are relevant, that could be relevant for this prediction. In another use case, we have the smart street lighting, where we use object detection to turn on the street lights only when we sense a presence in that specific location. The use case serves to help save electricity for the city authority, and up to 50% savings could be achieved according to some studies. The same camera could be used for other use cases, such as smart policing, to provide early warning for crime prevention, accidents, etc. This use case is about using AI to control the traffic light and the pedestrian light. Using the camera, we could assess the traffic situation and the presence of pedestrians. The algorithm will be able to make use of this information to determine when to change the traffic and pedestrian lighting. This will help to reduce the waiting time for the vehicles as well as the pedestrians. The system can also look out for emergency vehicles, VVIP vehicles that's passing by, or accidents in that locality, and do something about the timings. Traffic congestion is one of the major problems faced by city authorities around the world. Computer vision can be used to capture the traffic situation, and information from the video can be processed to count the number of vehicles on the road, as well as to look out for breakdowns, accidents, congestions, etc. The same setup could be used on the pavements to make sure that there's no PMD that is flying along them, and that cyclists are not riding too fast, etc. Lastly, we have this use case on smart bins. Today, most rubbish trucks will visit each and every bin on the street. Some of the bins may be full and some may be empty. Sometimes rubbish overfills the bins and gets strewn across the place. Also, those which are empty don't require the rubbish truck to stop by. So the smart bins solution deals with collecting information about the field level in the bins, as well as how bad the odor is. This information is sent to the Oracle Cloud to be processed by some algorithms, and the result is a map detailing a route that the truck should follow to cover those bins that are required to be emptied. So these are some of the use cases that I thought might be interesting for me to go through. So that's the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much, Francis. So, Francis, I do need some help in my parking. Can your smart parking help me? Okay, no, anyway, I think that was a very enlightening presentation, and thank you for sharing with us some of the live examples of projects you have done. I think they're really impressive. Thank you so much. Now, next, I have I have Barry Cheung, who is from Hong Kong. He is responsible for driving digital transformation initiatives and growing strategic business relationship with our key customers. He enjoys solving customer business and technology challenges using blockchain, machine language, machine learning, cloud native application development, digital and mobile technologies. Barry is a senior director for driving application development at Oracle, and he holds a Master of Business and Administration degree from Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. He also is a Master of Information Engineering degree holder from the Chinese University of Hong Kong. Now, Barry will be the right person to give you a quick primer on our Oracle Cloud infrastructure as an overview. So, Barry, over to you.
Thank you, EK. I hope you can see my screen. And thanks everyone. Thanks for joining us today with this Smart City Hackathon. EK introduced me already, and we just heard from Francis that there are many potential applications with smart cities, right? And to realize your idea is easier to build it on a platform like Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. In the next 15 minutes, I'll be taking you through to get started, to build your smart city idea and projects, on Oracle Cloud. With that, please see my slide about our latest infrastructure global footprint. Currently, we build 29 regions across the world, and in Asia Pacific, okay, we have a total of 8 regions, 2 in Japan, 2 in Korea, 2 in Sydney, and 2 in India. Now you see they all come in pairs, right? Because we want to make sure that they are DR ready, right? Just in case your application requires disaster recovery across 2 cities. The Oracle Cloud is already set up in this way. Singapore region will be coming online very soon, hopefully in a few months' time. And by the end of by June 2021, right, which is a few months away, I think our objective is to roll out a total of 36 regions, right, by the middle of this year, right? And one interesting thing is 6 of our region, wherever we happens to be in the same building or nearby, with the Microsoft Azure region, we have interconnect, basically a fiber optics, connecting, the Azure region with the Oracle region, right? And what that means is, it will open up the possibility of cross-offering, services, between, the Oracle Cloud as well as the Microsoft Cloud. Okay. Yep. Now, Oracle Cloud is does come late to the market, right? So it may be the first time you heard it from us, but a number of companies are already utilizing it, right, to launch their service globally with Oracle Cloud. Starting off, we are on Zoom, and we're going to discuss Zoom, right? So back in March 2020, when the COVID, issue bubble up, there's a surge of video, traffic with Zoom, no matter it's for personal use or for corporate use. One weekend, right, Zoom give us a call and request us to provide them a capacity of 3,000 call, and we were able to make it happen, right? And since then, I think they grow to millions of users, and every day now they are moving, more than 7 petabytes, through the Oracle Cloud globally. Okay, I believe it gives you a sense of how scalable and how responsive, right, the Oracle Cloud team can assist you. Cisco, right, another global company, right, one of their application, Tetration, is using Oracle Cloud, and with that, they're able to save 90% of the cost, and they're able to increase their performance by over 60 times, right, versus their on-premise infrastructure. Yeah, McAfee, another similar lane, their enterprise security manager ESM is running on Oracle Cloud, and they're able to handle more than 500,000 events per second and 600,000 data source, right? Because they need to analyze all these security, incident, right, and recommend, enterprises to take corrective actions. Now, recently, in fact, in the last 12 months, we've been working with the National Institute of Health in the United States for coronavirus prevention network, right? And many of you have seen on the TV, the vaccination is rolling out, and this is thanks to NIH, right, who enrolled millions of volunteers for large-scale vaccine testing in different parts of the world, right? And behind the scene, right, is the Oracle Cloud, supporting this initiative. Yeah. So I believe it gives you a sense of what are the some of the major enterprise and applications running on Oracle Cloud today. So now you heard some big names and you heard about their success, but we believe what's good for this big enterprise and big government is also good for startup individuals or companies like you. Oracle Cloud is startup friendly, starting off with a free tier, which is always free forever, right? We are able to give you a capacity of 2 virtual machines and 2 autonomous database, and you can utilize them to start experimenting, testing, iterating your idea and translate that into your next smart cities applications. OCI is also economical, right? This is generation 2 design. And thanks to that, we are able to achieve 30 to 50% cost reduction versus other cloud provider. And the cost reduction span across almost all items, right? No matter it's compute, storage, and network, right? So there's no catch in that. This is really a result of our innovation, and we want to share this cost benefit, right, to every Oracle Cloud startup. Performance, again, due to our generation 2 design, we use a number of specialized design, like off-box network virtualization. We offer between our compute and our storage is a 25 gigabit dedicated link that is not shared with anything else. And in some extreme case, we also have local NVMe based solid state storage, right, directly attached to our compute, and we are able to deliver 5 times the performance, right, that other competitors may offer to you, right? So this is really ready for your application growth locally and globally. All right, so you get a high-level view about how Oracle looks like at a global level, and I know we are with a hackathon, and we need to start small and start humble, right? So I want to share a few ways that you may start building your applications on OCI. Okay. First and foremost, you may not believe it, right? Oracle is talking open source, right? And in fact, we are more associated with open source than you think, right? Think MySQL, right? Think Java, and think many of our the project, right? That Oracle is contributing our code, our people, right, and our intellectual property into a number of open source projects, right? With OCI Compute, right, you can spin up virtual machines, you can spin up containers, and you have choices of OS, be it Linux or be it Windows, right? And you can even choose your own framework, right? Be it Python, be it JavaScript, be it Java, or be it TensorFlow to build your applications or the AI model, right? Like Francis just mentioned, right? So I think the advantage of this approach is you can basically, select, start with a skill and technology that you are familiar with, right? So the learning curve of using Oracle Cloud will be shortened. Alternatively, if you want to build your application with less effort, we also offer local application development on Oracle Cloud, right? And the technology that we have is called Apex, the shortcut of Application Express. The way it does is you give us your data, load your data into Apex, and then Apex will generate the first version of the application for you, right? And with that, you can start testing, you can start, getting feedback from user, you can start iterating, you can change your model, change the form, right? Change the dashboard, right? And we believe, right, iterative development is the right approach, right, for projects, right, in Hackathon, right? So check it out, right? And under the hood is powered by, Oracle Autonomous Database. And with the local approach, it give you, allow you to focus more on user experience, on the data model, rather than the JavaScript code, right? Now, the third approach is Oracle integration, right? Once you build your application on Compute or on our Application Express, sooner or later, you will realize the need of connecting it with more backends, be it a ERP of an enterprise, be it a SaaS applications, or be it an open data source from the government, right? In one of the smart city areas, right? For example, the smart bin availability or the street light, control, things like that, right? So in order to connect your applications, there is always a few things that you need to take care of, right? Authentication, security, and data transformation. And sometimes it can be very painful and require a lot of effort before you can get access to additional data. And with Oracle integration, we have a number of preview adapters that already handle the authentication as well as data access challenge, and we are making it easy for you to consume the data from your applications directly. Yep. Okay, so the fourth service that I want to introduce is Oracle Digital Assistant. I believe the easiest way for you to understand it is all of you have watched the movie Iron Man, right? And Iron Man talked to his digital assistant called Jarvis, right? So this is the same experience that we may bring it to your applications. You have an application built on HTML5, CSS, or Apex with a nice web and mobile screen. But if you want to add on a conversational user interface, no matter using text or using voice, this is exactly what Oracle Digital Assistant can do for you, right? And under the hood is our machine learning-based, natural language processing engine. Okay, so with that, I'm going to take you through one level deep for each of these way of building applications on OCI. OCI Compute, if I summarize it, basically allow you to run any OS and any framework, right? At the infrastructure level, we have very close collaboration with a number of companies, Intel, AMD for CPU, and also NVIDIA for GPU, right? You were able to find the latest and greatest of the processor technology on Oracle Cloud. And in a few months' time, you will be able to access ARM-based CPU technology on Oracle Cloud as well. Our storage is special on Oracle Cloud. We do not use spinner disk, right? All of the storage on Oracle Cloud is based on solid-state disk. And this is one of the reasons why we deliver extreme performance versus our competition. Networking is also specially engineered with very low latency service level agreement. So making your applications, more predictable and perform better, right, on the other versus the other platform. And certainly, everything is designed with a security first philosophy, right, in mind. Yeah. Moving up the stack, operating system is really your choice. You will find CentOS as well as Ubuntu images on OCI, and we can spin up those virtual machines for you within minutes. If you're looking for commercial grade support, we also have Oracle Linux. And by the way, there's no premium of using Oracle Linux versus the other CentOS or Ubuntu option, right, on OCI. And believe it or not, right, we actually have Windows available on OCI as well, right? If you are .NET developers and you prefer Windows over Linux, you do have that option on OCI. Yeah. A number of Windows Server version is available on OCI. Yeah. And last but not least, you can always bring your own image and bring your own OS to our cloud. Certainly, it will take a bit of effort, to install and set it up, versus the pre-built image that we offer and listed here. Further up, right, any framework, right? So no matter you are using Java, JavaScript, using Python, Golang, Spring Boot, right? You may find it really awkward for Oracle to talk about all these open source languages, but the reality is they are all work on OCI, right? And Kubernetes, right? So you will also have the ability to spin up a Kubernetes cluster on OCI, right? Without going through all the pain to set up the Kubernetes master and workload, manually, right? One form, 6 parameter, 10 minutes, right? We get your Kubernetes cluster ready. Yep, and you can start deploying containers on it. Database-wise, multiple options. MySQL, we do have MySQL cloud service available on OCI and version 8.0. And if you prefer other version, you can also, install by yourself. And document database, we have autonomous JSON database available on OCI. So all you need to do is to ingest your documents into the database, and we'll take care of everything else. If you prefer Mongo, help yourself, right? We also provide a guidelines and architecture, a recommendation in terms of how to set up a Mongo on OCI. If you're into relational database, the best option for you is autonomous database. Or if you want the regular Oracle database, we also have it, on OCI. Tooling is really easy, right? All you need is a browser to get started, with OCI. And once you register the account, we have the ability to give you a web UI, and you can do most of the things there. And in case you want to have the access of command line or SSH into one of the virtual machines that you spin up, we do offer a Cloud Shell, work in the browser. All the SDK and authentication is ready for you to go, right? Terraform, right? When you start, spinning up development, test, production, staging environment, Terraform can be very handy for you to clone your environment from one to the others, right? So OCI support Terraform. If you require the entire CI/CD toolchains, we have Visual Builder Studio on OCI. And basically is integrate a number of services coming from Git, Apache Maven, Gradle build tool, which is really common for Java-related technologies. And in case you are using other languages, right, and deploying in a container way, right, the Docker build tool is also available as part of the, our CI/CD toolchain, right? And of course, if you really want to, you can stand up your own tool chain, right, by yourself, right? But it will take, a bit more effort to do that. So I hope it gives you a sense of how to leverage OCI to build your next open source, right, application. I mentioned about Apex as well. So local application development, and basically it's a two-step approach. First, upload your data into OCI, right? Into Apex, and with that, Apex can generate an application for you based on your data as quickly as 5 minutes. Okay, your data can be in form of CSV, can be in Excel, JSON, or XML, any format. Okay. Alternatively, if you already have some data in our database, you can also utilize that. And in some cases, especially in a hackathon situation, right? You are trying to crack a problem, right? And when you crack the problem, you try to model that, right, with data, right? So and you don't know that model until a few iteration, right? You can also create your data model in an iterative way on OCI, right? And based on that, we can help you to generate some test data, and you can start, get a feeling about how the applications looks like, right, within minutes. And the advantage of an approach like that is your user or the target audience will have a chance to comment your design in the early part of development, right? And you can capture that, right, and include that, into the next iteration. Yeah, so it kind of help you to develop in an agile way. Beyond that, right, I talk about a lot of automation in Apex, but it also supports personalization, right? We offer page designer, theme roller, icon builder, and button builder, right? So you can control everything you can see on the screen in a pixel perfect manner. No matter it's layout, colors, icon, or buttons, right? All of them can be customized, right? So this is a really quick way for you to generate an app and personalize according to your need. The first thing, Oracle integration. Once you build your app, using our compute or using Apex, you may realize the need of connecting it with additional data source. And it can be an enterprise applications, it can be a SaaS, an Oracle SaaS, or maybe third-party SaaS like ServiceNow, right, or Salesforce, right, or others. And you may realize the need of connecting additional open data initiative coming from many government, right? And every time you need to connect a new data source, you need to go through a long list of hurdles: security, authentication, data transformation, data access. And the advantage of Oracle integration is we have a lot of pre-built adapters that you don't need to reinvent the wheel. And with that, you spend your energy in innovation, right? In realizing your ideas in your smart cities application. In addition, if you want to make your applications accessible by others, you can also leverage our API gateway to do so. Okay. Oracle Digital Assistant, and I mentioned the Ironman Jarvis, metaphor, right? So give you a sense of what is it, and basically, once you have a, what you can do is you can embed your digital assistant into different messaging or AI speaker, platform. Okay, example will be Facebook Messenger, Slack, Microsoft Teams, even WhatsApp, right? Or we can actually generate a web, UI that you can, embed straight away into your applications, right? Or if you prefer, voice over, chat, it's also possible to connect with, Alexa AI speaker and many other, similar, speaker platform, and you can start interacting with your application, using voice. Okay. Inside the digital assistant, the way it works is we will pick up, the sentence, the word, and the phrase, and with our natural language processing engine, you can train it to understand, the intent of these words, and with that, we can decide what action we take and what are the additional parameters we need in order to drive an action, right, to your application backend, right? And this is all in one, right? So you don't have to compare with other platforms, right? You may need to assemble multiple services in order to build a digital assistant. But with Oracle, this is all in one, all the machine learning capabilities, as well as the back-end integration capabilities, as well as the front-end, messaging interface, speaker interface integration are all ready for you to leverage. Yeah. Okay, so I think in the last 10-15 minutes, I just walked you through 4 ways to build applications, on OCI, and they are only a few, family members for the entire platform. I believe as you go through the OCI journey, you will discover a lot more service, that we offer. And it's a platform, that will enable you to start free, realize your smart city ideas, and it's also ready to grow, your success to a global level. With that, I want to thank you all of you for joining this hackathon. Happy hacking. Back to you, EK.
Thank you so much, Barry. I must say that a few keywords come throughout Barry's presentation. One is ease of use, speed of deployment, open standards, and best of all, you got a whole wide range of tools and services to choose from. So Barry, I must say that not many developers today probably know about Oracle's extensive range of cloud native, no-code, low-code, analytics, and the AI embedded cloud solutions. So that was very helpful. Thank you so much. In order for you to speed up on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, we have also put together online material and a schedule of workshops that you can access online and attend to learn quickly what OCI can do for you. Now, to tell more about what we have put together for you, I have Swee from my team. Swee was a cloud evangelist, principal solution engineer with our Oracle Digital Prime team, providing pre-sale solutions, architecting, digital transformation, evangelization, optimization of Oracle technology deployments for cloud on-premise for customers and partners. So today, I'll have Swee to tell you more about all these good things we've put together. Over to you, Swee.
Hey, hi, thank you, EK. Okay, good morning and good afternoon to everyone. Right, my name is Swee. Like I think, EK have already introduced me to all of you. Basically, I've been with Oracle for I think coming to 10 years this year, right? So this is basically a very good new role that I'm having now. But basically doing hackathons to invite everybody. So my session here, basically what we're going to talk about is about the workshop schedule and how to get you guys on board to OCI and self-learning as fast as possible, right? So first, I would like to start off with the basically the Smart Cities workshop schedule, right? If you realize, right, this is the whole schedule that we have until right before the start on the 5th of March. We have lined up whatever that you have heard just now, basically from Barry himself, right? We talk about designing and building up apps. This is basically, we talk about our Oracle low-code, no-code, using Apex, which is starting up later, right after our panel discussion by our speaker, Rodney. Then coming on Monday, we talk about integration. This is where we will have another speaker, Ravi Pinto, that will be talking more on the how to do all the integration with all the SaaS application, right? Then coming on the 2nd of March, Tuesday, then we will have Kwan, our speaker, will be talking about how do you actually build and observe and manage all the cloud application using Kubernetes, using all the cloud native services, right? So this is something that is very interesting that a lot of you probably have not even heard of, that Oracle actually offer all these services, and also how do you actually do it. And then later part at 12 o'clock, we have another session on Tuesday itself. It's basically to a lot of people that you may not be aware that we do have our MySQL database cloud services, right? That will be introduced, and then how to get started by one of our colleagues, Ivan Ma, right? Then coming up Wednesday, then we have Francis again. Then he will basically share with you more on how about making all this city smart, resilient, and more sustainable, because he just give you a brief overview just now over the 15 minutes, right? But he was going to give you another 1 hour details, how it can be done and what are the things that are more details on what he have shared earlier. Then later on at 12 p.m., then we will basically have no, this is basically it's a whole set, right? Then after that, on the Thursday itself, then you will have something that build how to build your own digital assistant, right? So this is something also that a lot of you probably will be interested, because this is something that will relate to our hackathon number 2, right? And where we talk about more on the mobile application development and also on the digital assistant, how to create a chatbot on that part. That will be handled by Barry Hian, okay? So in order to go to all this, right, basically you just need to register it at the hackmaker.com, right, which is what I'm going to share with you now, right? So this is the familiar page for most of you. If you have realized that if you have come to this particular site itself, right, this is where you actually came here today, where you actually register for the workshop. And then you will realize that from the workshop itself, when you scroll down, you have these particular pages that you say how to get onboarded with Oracle here, right? Then you will realize there's a one line here. If you're really new to OCI, what Barry have actually explained earlier, when you realize that when you click on it, this is how is it. Are you new to Oracle in cloud infrastructure? And if yes, right, then they will basically, this is a very good blog. They were talking about you have all the information in one place. And then they will tell you about the key concept about OCI, where you can actually know what is the tenancy, what is the compartment, and how do you actually do a sign up, which I'm going to show you later, right? So this is where you will basically be able to learn about what is all Oracle cloud infrastructure is all about. And on top of that, beside the key concept, you will learn how to do all this identity access management in OCI, set up a virtual cloud network, accessing Oracle Cloud Infrastructure API using instant principle, working with OCI object storage, and all these particular concept that you can read from this particular blog itself, right? So this is one of it. Then on top of that, you realize that we also provide this. I think in some of the Q&A that my colleagues, Joanne already probably have answered, you do realize that you're looking at all this introduction on OCI itself, and you do have something that talk about associate, which is a level 100, level 200, and level 300. And what you see here at the level 50, right, when you click on this, right, you probably will notice that this is how you do another introduction, and this is basically on our foundation certification. In fact, all the material is here. You can see the slides here. This is more on the sort of something that we actually offer even to our internal colleagues as well. And then you realize that this is also a video for you to play. You can actually click on it, and then everything will show you on based on the slide deck that you can view here as well. Okay, this is on the level 50, and this is on the level 100. This is where we talk about the certification on the associate. So for most of all these things, right, you can take your time and basically to learn more about the OCI. This is mainly targeted for a developer like yourself, and then you wanted to know more about our OCI and what Barry actually have shared with you earlier as fast. So this is more on the self-learning purposes, right? Here, right after you go through here, get onboarded, right? You realize that here we have one more click here, which is basically when you click on this, right? You have a lot of live labs. Live lab basically is how you get started. And this is the starting point. And in fact, we do have a lot of other live lab, depends on your interest level, right? Whether what type of technology, database, analytic, AI, ML, All these live labs are available for any one of you if you decide. But to get started off, right? Besides just now, what you see on the blog, you realize that we talk about all these things that will teach you how to do that, right? But the most important thing, the first thing that you need to do, right, is to create your trial account. And this is where we talk about when you click on this, you will come to the page where you actually start off with creating your trial account. You will automatically come to this particular website. Or if you are not sure, right, just now probably you can say oracle.com/free. You also will come back to this same page itself where you basically say start for free. Okay, either you click on that link or you just type oracle.com/free, you will come to this. So when you do a start for free, you'll come back to this page like what you see just now, right? So for myself, I will just put in Singapore here, then I put my name here. Then, okay, this is something interesting. If for all of you who have actually registered with us, right? Register on the hackathon. By default, when you do verify my email, right? You will be getting a special offer. This is what I think Joanne have answer in the Q&A for the Oracle Cloud trial with 500 credit for 30 days. So this one will start. I will basically what we offer to most of the hackathon participants is this will start on 1st of March when you registered for this particular free account, because it will be valid for 30 days. That's where your account actually valid for Hackathon 1 and Hackathon 2, right? On the 1st of March, when we actually do this, then you just select this offer, right? Then you have to key in a strong password. Right, company name, of course, you have to key in your company name. But if you're a student, you just key in the student of the university which you are in. And after that, you basically can choose the home region. Means that the data center that Barry had mentioned earlier, right? You can even choose all the data center, either is from US, Latin America, and of course in APAC, we can choose those that is nearest to us, right? Or in any case here, probably I will choose Seoul as my, you see, your home region is basically your geographical location where your account and identity resource will be created. It's not chargeable after signing up, right? So these are some of the regions just now you have seen it's available. So after that, you just continue, right? So then you key in the address. So you basically can key in your company address. Right? Then city, Singapore. Oh, sorry. This one should be at the postcode. Okay. So you can continue. The major difference you notice here is basically if we were to key in after you have been registered with Hackmaker as a participant, right? When you key in your address, phone number here, you do not need to key in your credit card number. So this is basically automatically when you say by clicking my start my free trial, I can start my free trial now. Then you'll be receiving all the email necessary. Okay, so this is how you can get started. It's the fastest way, and then all this can be done, and then they will basically start finishing the account. This one probably take about 4 to 5 minutes, right? So this is how easy is it to basically setting up your account and with your email address itself. Okay, so let's come back to here. This is on the start part. So eventually, as I mentioned now, the most important thing that now we need to do, if you are really interested in all this workshop, right, you can do a save your dates here, where you automatically will have a Google all your schedule. all these things will be updated in your calendar itself, right? So you notice that when I save all this, you will notice that all the workshop are actually automatically saved here, right? And the other thing that probably you said you want to register, you will just basically click on this. Automatically, you will be sent to a registration form. In fact, I think this is where you guys are in today for this particular workshop, because you already have registered based on your name and your address and the interest of which of the workshop that you guys wanted to be in. All right. So with that, I think I have completed my session of sharing on the onboarding and also the workshop schedule. Right. Pass back to you, EK.
Thank you
Thanks.
so much, Rian. So as you can see, we have a whole series of workshops that you can attend. There are online resources that you can go and get familiarized. There are even live labs that are easy to run and can get your hands wet on how to use OCI. All these are available for you free. Feel free to use these resources to pick up very quickly Oracle technology so they can start your hackathon ahead of all the rest, right? Now, be sure to attend this bookshop, explore the reading materials online, and I'm sure you get whatever help you need. Finally, I've saved the best for last. I have the CTO of Hackmakers, Mr. Jack Shi. In his introduction, 4 lines say it all, and they say a lot. He's a software developer by trade, founded multiple startups, participated in 10 plus hackathons, and got first place or an award in 6 of them. Organized, judged, and mentored many others. Now, Jack's here to share with you some tricks and tips on how you can ace in a hackathon. Trust me, he knows all about hackathons. So without much ado, over to you, Jack.
Thank you, EK. That was a really good introduction. Let me share my screen. So what is a hackathon? First of all, I wanted to get an idea of who here has participated in at least a few hackathons. Just you can post in the chat or by show of hands. So what this talk will be about is it's mainly tailored to people that hasn't done hackathons before or has done only a few hackathons. There's also bits and pieces towards the end that's tailored for people that's done quite a few hackathons already. So I'll walk through some of the basic steps and what to do in each of those steps. This is a bit about myself. The first step, I'm going to work through in 7 steps. The first step is what to do before the hackathon gets started. Now, this is actually a very important time because this is where we can actually prepare for all the things that's necessary for the hackathon. So during the days of the hackathon, we don't try and scramble for information or maybe come up with an idea that's not really the idea that we're judging for. So here are some points I listed. Really get familiar with the competition information. What are some of the judging criteria? How do you submit and what do you submit? Work out how big of a team you're allowed to form. Understand the background topic. What is it in the hackathon that you're trying to solve? And maybe if you can, try and work out what are some areas of interest that you're interested in this hackathon, say smart cities. What is it that you're interested in smart cities that you want to go and look into a bit, try and get some more background information so that when the hackathon starts, you can know roughly what area you want to do and start forming a team. You can, in addition to that, there's also some fabulous workshops that Shuyan has presented in his previous presentation that you can definitely look at. You can also try and get inspiration from Francis or work out how to use some of the amazing, easy to use OCI platforms available to you for free. Second step is the ceremony opening night. So by this time, you would have already had a good idea of what is it that you're doing, what area of focus you're interested in, and some competition information. So here in the ceremony opening night, a lot of times judges and people of interest will be speaking in the ceremony opening night. Try and look for unspoken focuses that judges may have, that they may be interested in, or that may get your solution to be one of the ones that they favor. Get familiar with how the hackathon will be run in terms of the format, in terms of, say, the different technologies you'll be using, be it Slack or other communication tools. Really get familiar, because when the hackathon starts, when it comes crunching time, you won't have a lot of time to work those out. Also, it's a good opportunity in the opening ceremony and also after. We've organized a catch-up session online for everyone where you can mingle and talk to some of the other participants. It's also a good opportunity to try and find out who shares common values, who's a good team member to work with. The third bit is team forming. Team forming is very important because you'll be working with these 3 people, going down into trenches and doing late nights for those hackathon days. So it really has to be people that shares the same passion and values, someone that you can work with well. Because if people have different values or different passion, it's very difficult to come to a conclusion in terms of one idea. Make sure you have the skills necessary in the team to make whatever is needed happen. For example, if it's a team of all developers, then do you have someone there that's able to design, that's able to pitch the product, or to work on the business side of it? Or if it's a team just purely of business people and no developers, do you have someone that's able to build a prototype of the product or show why the product is feasible, your solution is feasible and makes sense and it works? Again, with team forming, as I've mentioned, you guys can work together. This also includes time zones. For example, if there's a huge time zone between the team members, that could potentially be a problem because one person would be sleeping online, hence not much room for communication. The fourth point is coming up with the challenge. This is a very important point, and it forms the basis of the solution that you'll be providing and submitting towards the end of the hackathon. I've also included a very nice picture here to remind you guys of what a challenge should be. A challenge or a problem is something that is very painful, something that, just like you see here, makes people frustrated. That's what makes a really good challenge. If a challenge is something that is just, yeah, it's good I have it, or nah, don't really need it, then that challenge is not as painful. Hence, people, even when there's a solution, it's not of a huge impact. So it's important we find something that is super painful. For that, you also want to look at the market size. How big or how many people is experiencing this problem? Say, for example, if it's only a dozen people in a country that's experiencing the problem, maybe it's not a very big challenge, or it's only faced by a small amount of people. But say, for example, if 10 million people is facing the problem, that is a huge market size. And so potentially the solution that you're building can solve this huge frustrating problem for 10 million people as opposed to 12. Domain expertise in the team, I put a bracket in. It's important because sometimes if you have that domain expert that knows that particular domain you want to push the solution in, it may give you extra insights which other teams may not have thought of just because they don't have that background and insight into that particular area. Team interest is also important. You have to be interested in what you're doing. You have to be passionate. The fourth step is coming up with the challenge and coming up with the solution to the challenge. So as mentioned before, challenge is you would come up with this on Friday, on Saturday. Solutions, after you come up with the challenge, you want to immediately look at the solution. And when you first start off, it might not be a solution that you want. So you might come up with a few different iterations of the solution for the challenge. One may work better than the other. Things to look at is really, is there any existing solutions in the market? Are there competitors in the market? Because chances are, if you're trying to build out a solution that already exists, there's not going to be much point because it already exists. How different you are. Is it unique? It's a different solution. The feasibility of the solution. If it's a really good solution to a particular challenge, that's a plus, but it has to be feasible. If it's something that would take 20 years to build and many billions of dollars, chances are it's not very feasible. It has to be something that you can do, or you can show that it makes sense within this amount of time. Finally, it's the impact mentioned before, and also getting validation. I want to highlight getting validation here because there are challenges and solutions to challenges that we think will work. However, sometimes other people may not think that it'll work. For example, if you wanted to build a smart city solutions for very young kids and maybe 2 to 3-year-olds, and we think, oh great, this is an excellent solution for 2 to 3 years old. Chances are we want to get it validated by 2 to 3-year-old kids and their parents to work out if it's something that will actually work. Unless if we're obviously in that target demographics. This quote is also very nice. If you cannot do great things, do small things in a great way. So it doesn't matter how big the solution is. Even the smallest things, if it can have a huge impact, it's very important. And if you can do that small thing well and perfect, it could be the winner to the hackathon. Number 6 is working on the solution. This will happen during Saturday and Sunday. So ideally you want to come up with a solution on Saturday or have a basic formulation of what you want to do on Saturday. Because during the hackathon, after Saturday, there's only really Sunday and then a bit of Monday to work on the solution before you have to start preparing for pitching. So work on the solution. The solution may be huge. Figure out what are the critical bits. Work out how you want to demonstrate the solution. What are the key bits that can show that, hey, the solution will work? For example, if you want to do a financial share market solution, maybe the key thing might be the algorithm that proves that it's always sort of getting the right stocks at the right time. When it comes to judging, they really want to see it's not only a good idea, but it works. It's feasible. Make sure you plan the time and also separate the responsibilities. We all work as a team. There's only so much one person can do within the 3 days of the hackathon. Make sure everyone gets certain responsibilities to do, and then you have a session or multiple sessions to pull everything together. Also ask for assistance early. There's some excellent speakers and excellent people in the panel already. And then also we'll have different mentors and subject matter experts that you can reach out to. Make sure you ask them early, not towards the end of the hackathon, because then there's the chance of us assisting may be less, just because you have limited time to do it. So I like this picture here because number 6, solutioning, working on the solution. Yes, it can get a bit messy and it can get all over the place when it first starts off, which is fine. That's to be expected. Towards the end, that's where you really pull it all together into a nice report. pitching and submission. So this is the final point. And this is reaching towards the end of the hackathon on Sunday and Monday. You want to start thinking about the pitch because you could have the best solution out there, but if judges don't understand it, or if you cannot demonstrate it well, then great, it's a good solution, but it's not understandable, and we couldn't see the value in that. So you've done all this work. You want to make sure that you bring out the best in your idea. Hence, allocate some time and start thinking about it, even on Sunday. I've also got a separate video that I can share on LinkedIn about how to do a great pitch. But what it is here in very brief summary is, in a pitch, you need to have the challenge, you need to have the solution, your validation to show that the challenge and solution make sense, the market size, competitors, and your demonstration. Some good to haves in a pitch is, why do you want to do it now? Why hasn't people do it before? How do you actually deliver this particular solution? Some go-to-markets, and also your team's purpose, your team's vision. What drives your team? Along with the submission of the pitch video, you can also submit a document. This will elaborate some of the things in your pitch. Some links, some backup evidence or graphs you can show, which you didn't really get the chance to show in your pitch. It's important, don't show everything in your pitch, because then that will be a very long pitch. Coding, if you have any, so that'll be in GitHub, you can put it on there. And make sure you submit 1 hour beforehand, because if anything happens, it'll happen in the last minute, and that's not what you want to. You don't want to be scrambling in the last minute and miss the deadlines. So that's everything. Sort of summary, getting prepared, starting, team forming, coming up with challenges, solution, working on solution and pitching. And if there's any takeaways to this, with your, in everything I've mentioned, with your team, find a valid, frustrating problem and a feasible solution that works to solve it. Let's get started hacking. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, and thank you very much. Back to you, EK.
Thank you so much, Jack. I think those are really good advice, and then your experience shows how much depth and understanding you have on making a hackathon work. Now, I really like that advice, right? If you cannot do great things, do small things in a great way. But with all these great experts we have, all the enablement lineup, I'm sure all of you can do great things in a great way in this hackathon. And I'm really excited about seeing you doing all these great things that will enable smart cities. Now, we do have about 10 to 15 minutes left. I thank those of you who have actively been asking questions on the Q&A. Are there any other questions that you have that we can address right now? We have got 13 minutes. If not, I'll give you some time back. Thank you so much for attending the session. I thank all the panelists for all the great advice and the material you have shared. I wish you all the best in your hackathon. I'm sure you do very well and wish you every success. Be sure to join us in the opening session on 5th of March, and see you soon. Take care.